comes from, right? I mean, yeah, cold temperatures are one thing, but I observe people that either have relationships around the holidays and then lose them, or get in relationships not just because they want somebody in their bed while it's cold, but also because they don't want to be alone for the holidays. And that could be a mental condition in and of itself, because I mean, human beings are by nature, we're kind of pack animals. We are meant to congregate in some form or fashion because we all have people that we want to be close to or people that we want to be around. But at the same time, there are people that just want people around for the sake of being around. And as soon as the weather goes back to being warm, everything changes. And that's a huge issue to me because, and I'm probably not the best person to even speak on this, so let me just caveat it by saying that by no means is my opinion on this the right opinion, because I will say I usually leave right around late September to late October and come back around late March to late April, and you can probably count in your head and see how many holidays I miss in that time frame. All of which I don't mind missing because they're the most commercialized holidays of the year. But I sit back and I just watch how people reach out and cling to each other, or even in some cases, like, try to find people to be with just to be with them. And I'm like, all right, well, this person isn't necessarily best for you, or these family members don't even necessarily like you, so why are you trying to congregate with these individuals? And I always have to wonder, like, what's going on in individuals' minds like that. And I only say that because usually the rest of the year they're fine. Like, they're not reaching out during December. They're not reaching out around spring break to people. All the hey big heads and random emojis and DMs and stuff start dropping late in the year when it's getting cold and when people want to snuggle up and lay in front of the fireplace or have somebody with them for Christmas or take somebody home for Thanksgiving. And I'm like, why? And I was thinking about that like even last year, because last year I was actually in DC. I was up there and I bought a tree for the first time in my life, and I'm OCD and it shed everywhere, so I like to lost my mind.
Trees, man, real trees suck. We'll get to that later.
But I did it for my son. I was like, I've never really been one to celebrate the holidays. I know he has some level of celebration, so I'm gonna go and buy this real tree. I'm not going. Yeah, that's a conversation for another time. How I felt about that tree, but he was happy, so that was good. But once again, I spent it the same way I would overseas for the most part. I was chilling with Corey. and that's what I do. I chill with the little man. He was great. He was with his mother for one of the holidays, and I was chilling. I just don't feel that need to, I guess, be around people because everybody that I'm usually around, we congregate in very small packs, super, super small packs. It's usually 3 of us, and we might get up to maybe 8, 9, 10 max. Mm-hmm. And that's that. But it's always like, well, I can see these people any time of the year. Like, I'm not going to just celebrate their existence and the need to be around them because it's a holiday. We do this any given week, usually impromptu without it being planned. That might happen. So I just never felt the need to be like, all right, let me buy a bunch of gifts and do whatever, because that's what people do.
And yeah, summertime, of course, it's easier to be by yourself because you're also not as less, I guess, trepidation or inhibitors that are going to prevent you from going out and just doing something. Like in summertime or springtime, you can just go down to the harbor, or you can go downtown, or go to a bar and just mingle, or just be around other people. Wintertime, if you get up the courage to go put the warm clothes on and get out there and fight the cold, who's going to be there other than couples?
Yeah.
I mean, more single people are going to be out and socializing, as opposed to now where there's just everyone has a friend Thanksgiving, everyone has some bullshit ass brunch with their friends just to talk about the same shit they talk about in the group chat. and you're sitting at home just thinking, damn, how many times can you jerk off? It just don't work that way.
Hey, you know what, man? Like, the weather plays a huge part in this, right? And I say that because it's dropped down into the 50s and 40s down here in Florida right now, right? So, like,
man, shut up. No.
But see, here's my point, though. Like, people's moods started tripping for real. Like, across the board. You see it at work. You see it in random places. Like, just the overall mood of people when it's cold is different.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yeah, you might see couples out and about in Florida, but usually you see people running around in shorts and bikinis, and you rarely see like a whole lot of people booed up. But like you could tell there was that desire to just be with people of the opposite sex, which I thought was weird. Because like even at work, you usually see people outside on their phone, congregating, onesies and twosies, everybody just looking down at their phone.
Mm-hmm. Today's
cold, like everybody was paired off. Man, woman, married woman, just standing outside. Usually mostly still on their phone, still talking. For the most part, those that were smart enough to be inside just stayed inside. But I was sitting there, and I guess it's noticeable to me because, like, I pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Right.
So to see that huge just shift in a day, because now you got to wear a jacket, but you know, the high is still 65. Like, I'm tripping. I'm like, all right. So it dropped down to 44 degrees at night. And now it's like, all right, well, you know what? We got to buy this blanket, get snuggled up. But it's going to be 65 tomorrow. What's the big deal? I don't know.
Yeah, y'all niggas got soft down there because of the cold weather.
I was shivering like a bitch in D.C.
Fur coats on.
Yep. When it got mine out of storage today.
Frank Lucas ass.
Hey man, I'm gonna be like that in 60-degree weather down here in Florida. That's cold, bro.
But fucking cuffing season. Do you think that is? I mean, do you think? I think that's also people use cuffing season as an excuse to not have to commit to anybody. But I think that it just cuffing season in the wintertime is also called I'm emotionally unavailable in the spring.
Yeah. That's basically what that is. That's basically what that is. And you know what? Me personally, if I was ever like considered a serious relationship or ended up in one, for me it always ended up happening during the summer. Like it never actually happened.
Same here.
During like the winter, just because I'm like, no. One, I prefer to be out and about when I meet people. Two, as I mentioned, I'm OCD, so I don't like people just up in my space a lot early on. Like, I want to get to know you, but I want to get to know you outside of my house. But, but it's like, I can't see myself, one, deliberately going to find somebody to be in a relationship because it's getting cold, and two, it is an excuse. For some people, it's an excuse just to try to find a relationship that they think is going to last forever. Because they think, I mean, psychologically, people believe, all right, if we're in the house more, we're chilling more, we got more time to get to know each other. Opposed to, all right, if I meet you in the summer, well, it's a lot of the temptation that you're going to be out there chasing after, and everybody going to be running around half naked or something, and you're just going to be tempted. Now, technically, temptation is 365 days a year. Like, it's going to happen whenever it's going to happen, however it's going to happen. We're in the age of the internet. All you need is a couple of apps and you can view people all day long without leaving your house. So I don't really see the logic behind quote unquote cuffing season. If I'm cuffing somebody, I prefer it be for the long haul, not because it got cold. If I decide to cuff somebody, then clearly that's serious enough for me to take that step, not because the temperature dropped 20 degrees and the leaves change colors.
Yeah, I don't think grown adults go for that dumb shit. I think that's like start talking about cuffing season. Like, oh, I just need somebody for 3 to 5 months. I'm like, you're fucking full of shit.
Yeah, cuffing season for me, we filing joint taxes.
Yeah. When I think of cuffing season, I'm thinking, shit, we about to go half in these fucking groceries.
Exactly. Like, yeah, we cuffed, all right. We cuffed by law. We about to split some of these bills, and
Yeah,
this heat we chilling up under. Yeah, we splitting this light bill right here. Like,
we're combining our wealth.
That's mortgage we got.
Yes,
we cuffed by this for 30 years.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Bills, shit. Yeah. And speaking of bills, I was talking to my wife earlier today about Destiny's Child's Writings on the Wall album. And then the more I thought about it, my point is that I think that whole album was about them preaching to other women on how to be the worst women they could possibly be. They're like terrible girlfriends, terrible wives. And the song I always think of was Bills.
And you know,
if you don't pay my bills, we're over. And I'm like, bitch, what are we talking about here? I'm not like supposed to be a sugar daddy. What's going on?
I think though that was the age of really building the worst women, and in many ways, ironically, I think this was the very first conversation you and I ever had. I really think it was. And now that I think about it, especially coming post that era, because we were kind of having not really a bashing session, we were just making an observance of how women had changed so much. But when I think about the music back then, all right, you got bills. You got I Don't Want No Scrub. You got, on the man side of things, you had, who made the song about pigeons? I can't remember who it was. But
I know these motherfuckers too.
But everybody was making songs about what you should not do in a relationship. And I'm sitting there like, well, I'm glad I got good parents. Because, yeah, good music is good music, but what you feed into your mind is usually what you get out of it as well. So
Sporty Thieves.
Yeah, there we go. But it's like...
But if you think about it, that R&B that people are so nostalgic over, the 90s R&B, the early 2000s, early 90s through the early 2000s, the grown-ups that worship that stuff are the same ones that raised these emotional and oversharing teenagers that they love to complain about all the time.
Yeah.
Because most of the stuff, all they did was talk about hating all the time. Now, we're watching the Soul Train Awards, and Donnell Jones comes up, and that nigga, all he did was talk about, I'm cheating on you, but I don't want you to leave, and I'm gonna follow you while you're on a date with some other nigga, talk about, I made my decision, but I need time to think where I want to be. Like, nigga, no, you don't.
Yeah, and that is exactly what bred, the generations that followed. And ironically, we went right into the generation of breakup music, because that's when you had, your Adeles came about and your Ariana Grandes, that every time they changed boyfriends, good music, don't get me wrong, sing like hell, but you can tell the hurt that was in those songs.
Yes.
And it's like, well, look at what we've been breeding the last several years. And people don't ever think, all right, cause and effect. What I'm raising right now is going to be make a big deal later. They just think about whatever they want at the time. And at the time, bills. I don't want no scrubs. I want to be... Do
you think that Mary J. Blige could raise a son who is not like a male feminist?
He'll be all right long as he don't dance like she do.
Nigga, all the things she kept thinking about was about how all this time on her hand because nigga's been away and she ain't got no plans. The sound of the rain against her window pane is driving her insane. You can't be talking like that and then teaching some dude to have some standards in a relationship. He's probably getting walked over by every woman in his life because his mom's telling him that men ain't shit.
Hey, well, that went the same way though.
You think Keisha Cole can raise some nigga that can stand up and hold his own?
I think eventually we're gonna find out.
Let's find out real soon.
That's funny, man. That is funny, man. Just because that goes both ways, though.
Do you think Donnell Jones can raise it? You think Donnell Jones can teach a son how to be a good husband or a good boyfriend?
Yeah. Yeah, like there's so many drawbacks